Now, in a special edition of 4 News Now, the eyes of the college basketball world are on this place, the Spokane Arena. This is a live look at the arena where it's a clash of the Titans with the 6th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on the 8th-ranked Baylor Bears.
Well, the rain has tapered off, but the winds are picking up. I'll tell you about an expanded wind advisory and what kind of weather is blowing in for Election Day.
And it's the final stretch before Election Day. We have team coverage on what is being done to make sure your votes are safe and secure. Plus, find out when you can expect the first round of results. You're watching 4 News Now, Special Edition.
Well, here is another live look at the Spokane Arena where Gonzaga and Baylor, 2 top 10 teams, are facing off in the season opener for each team. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Derek Dice.
And I'm Kirsten O'Connor. The Zags have won 18 season openers in a row and are hoping that streak doesn't end tonight. Sydney Berger is in studio live with us here. Sydney, there's another reason this matchup is so important.
Yeah, guys, the Bulldogs really have no time to ease into this season. This game against Baylor is one of the more important games on the Zags schedule this season, and even though it's their first regular season game, a win against a ranked opponent like this is a must. Gonzaga is favored to win tonight, but Baylor has won the last 2 meetings between the Bears and the Zags, the most infamous one being the 2021 National Championship. That year, the Zags went undefeated until facing Baylor in that final game. Gonzaga also met Baylor in 2022 and just lost by a single point. So to start the season with a top 10 win has to be the only thing on the Zags' minds, and it'll probably be even sweeter win against a team that's given them some recent trouble. Tip-off is just getting underway. Of course, we'll give you an update on that score later in the show. You just watched the Tampa Bay Bucks take on the Chiefs right here on ABC. So, of course, it's time for tonight's play of the game. And if you were just with us, you probably saw the Tampa Bay Bucks were able to tie things up against the undefeated Chiefs late in the 4th quarter. But the Chiefs won the toss, and all it took was a touchdown. They marched right down the field, and Kareem Hunt was able to punch it in to keep the perfect record intact for the Chiefs. Hunt had 106 yards on the ground, including that TD right there. The final score, 30-24 in Kansas City. Coming up later in sports, like I mentioned, an update from that top 10 matchup right across the street from us in the Spokane Arena. Plus, check in on Cougar basketball in their game against Portland State. Kirsten?
All right, Sydney, thank you. Well, the rain has settled down, but we still have a good amount of wind making its way through the area.
And that wind is blowing even more rain our way. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker to see when it's expected to arrive.
Well, as we take a look at our winds right now, we are seeing 34-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Spokane, close to 40-mile-per-hour gusts in Pullman. And these winds are going to pick up even more as we get closer to midnight. Our 12-hour wind forecast, 40-mile-per-hour winds at 11 o'clock. We'll have 40-mile-per-hour winds up until about 3 a.m. Now, this is for Spokane. We have some stronger winds elsewhere around the region. And then it starts to calm down a little bit as we get into the morning. It's still going to be a breezy start to the day before things calm down more substantially by tomorrow night. We do have a wind advisory, and since the early news, that has been expanded to include the Washington Palouse as well as the LC Valley, continuing for the the Idaho Palouse, continuing for the Washington Palouse and the Tri-City area, gusts up to 50 miles per hour. It is a high wind warning for the area shaded in yellow. Isolated areas could get up to 65-mile-per-hour gusts. Meanwhile, we do still find some showers around the region, and there are some winter weather advisories and warnings to tell you about later in the broadcast. But first, we have got a beautiful day on the way for tomorrow. Once those winds calm down, it is going to be sunny with temperatures right about average. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast and more on that snow in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, Kootenai County elections workers are already preparing to count ballots on Election Day.
But ballots that come from in-person voting tomorrow could take even more time to be factored into the official results. Derek Strom spoke to the Kootenai County elections manager about how his office is preparing for Election Day.
Any supportive words that they can provide their poll workers while they're there are always appreciated.
Plenty of people are stopping into the Kootenai County Elections Office to get advice on where their precinct is and how to register to vote on Election Day. And elections workers are also sorting through plenty of absentee ballots, preparing those to process them as quickly as possible to get results out. Many of the people stopping into the elections office are looking to vote or register to vote, but they will have to go to their local polling place on Election Day for that. Kootenai County has a polling place lookup on its website, and it has a list of all the polling places in the county.
People can still register to vote when they show up at their polling place because Idaho offers same-day voter registration, so that will also impact our turnout.
Kootenai County Elections Manager Asa Gray expects 80 to 90% voter turnout at their precincts, but compiling results after the polls close will take more time in Kootenai County than other Idaho counties. All the ballots from Election Day polls have to be transported back to the elections office before they can be counted.
I would expect that we will be here into the wee hours of the morning getting those all counted. But like I said, we will not stop counting. In fact, by state law, we're not allowed to stop counting until all ballots have been counted.
Gray expects the first round of results to be released at around 8:30 p.m. on election night. Most of those results will be from early voting and absentee ballots that election workers are already preparing to count once polls open on Election Day.
Once we have them removed from the outer envelopes, we then remove the ballots from the secrecy sleeves and prepare them so they can be counted tomorrow.
In Coeur d'Alene, Derek Strom, 4 News Now.
Well, we know you'll be watching closely tomorrow, even before the polls close.
And that's why ABC News and 4 News Now have you covered, whether you're in front of a TV or not. From the time you wake up, you can watch live coverage from ABC News on KXLY.com. We'll keep their coverage as a top story on KXLY.com. ABC will be live on TV, starting with a special edition of World News with David Muir at 3:30, rolling right into coast-to-coast election coverage. And throughout the evening, we'll be breaking into that coverage with live reports and updates from across the inland Northwest.
And if you're on the go, make sure you sign up for the notification in the KXLY News app for breaking news, and links to newscasts. We'll be live with a special edition of 4 News Now right when the polls close at 8. Download the KXLY app on your phone and the KXLY Plus app for your TV, or just stay tuned right here on 4 News Now for live coverage from here at home and across the nation. All right, both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump spent the last few hours of their campaigns trying to convince voters in key battleground states.
America is ready for a fresh start, ready for a new way forward, where we see our fellow American not as an enemy, but as a neighbor.
Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? With your vote tomorrow, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country.
The race for the 270 electoral votes needed to win will likely come down to a handful of battleground states like Pennsylvania. The winner of the presidential race probably won't be called on election tonight, as the vote counting process in battleground states could take several days. If you recall, in 2020, President Biden was not declared the winner until Saturday, several days after the election night. Then there's the balance of power on Capitol Hill, with tight races for control of both chambers. In the House, which is currently controlled by Republicans, all 435 seats are on the ballot, and in the Senate, which is currently controlled by Democrats, roughly a third of the 100 seats are up for grabs.
And there are officially less than 24 hours until the polls close across Washington. For some, the closure is spiking anxiety and worry about safety in the days ahead. Our Hunter Bertram asked voters today how they're feeling.
As many finalize their ballots and cast their votes, at top of mind may be public safety, as already during this general election we've seen attempted assassinations, and here in Washington, arson of ballot boxes.
I just hope everyone just keeps their cool, because, you know, no matter what happens, not everyone's going to be happy, and we just got to remember that that's just the way it is.
Sal Torgerson voted on Monday, telling me she has some safety concerns in the coming days. However, Blair Mason feels differently.
There might be a few people here and there, but I'm not worried about it.
In preparation for the election results, Governor Jay Inslee authorized the National Guard to remain on standby as a precautionary measure. I spoke with the Washington State Military Department on Monday to clarify what this means. If local law enforcement, particularly the Washington Washington State Patrol needs additional help in handling civil unrest, the National Guard will be able to respond quickly. This marks a significant first in Washington's history. Never before has a Washington governor taken this step to authorize the National Guard as a precaution during a general election.
I think it's good to have safety measures in place, but I don't think anything is going to be like that.
In Spokane, Hunter Bertram, 4 News Now.
Well, new video tonight shows the moment hundreds of ballots were destroyed in a drop box in Vancouver. Take a look here. Moments after this black car drives away, you can see smoke coming from the ballot drop box before it explodes. The FBI is still searching for the person responsible. The Clark County auditor says the explosion has not deterred people from using ballot drop boxes.
Over in Western Washington, we are waiting for the results from the Boeing Machinists Union on the latest contract.
It's been more than 50 days since machinists at Boeing decided to go on strike. The new offer involves a 38% wage increase over 4 years. That's 3% higher than the previous offer. But it falls short of the 40% wage increase the union originally asked for, and it still does not include restoring pensions. Many workers, like Andre Johnstone, want union leaders to push for more.
My message to Boeing is trust the workers. We want the best for this company.
We will share the results of tonight's vote as soon as it's released. All right, still ahead here, hundreds of coats are now being handed out as part of our annual Coats for Kids campaign. We'll show you how you can get one for your child next on 4 News Now.
Connect with 4 News Now on KXLY+. 4 News Now is brought to you by Fairway Floor. At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
At Numerica, we've got money answers for people with batrachophobia. Honestly, same. Get money answers for you and only you. Learn more at numericacu.com.
As a local reporter for almost 30 years, I have seen politics up close, the good and the bad. But since we closed the primaries in this state, it has gotten worse. Party bosses changed the rules, and that cut out 275,000 voters from participating. And wouldn't you know it, elected officials are now even less accountable to the people of Idaho. Prop 1 reopens our primaries for all taxpayers, so we can pick the candidates that work for us. I'm voting yes on Prop 1 to give power back to the people of Idaho.
Amy M. writes, my kids are having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Will my internet hold up?
Well, our Xfinity gateways are like magic, designed to easily power a ton of teenagers and their devices.
They're so magic, I'm like the Good Witch of engineering.
And I'm the Wicked Witch of beta testing.
And I'm the Wizard of spreadsheets.
I knew he'd excel at that job.
Get Thrillifyingly fast Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd.
When I was told I needed radiation treatment for a brain tumor, I couldn't stop thinking about what could happen to my memories. Those moments I cherish from growing up, of finding myself, of the people I love, of what I've created. Could they all just fade away? But when I learned how precise treatment was with Gamma Knife, I was reassured that those moments would be preserved. Because it's not only about protecting the memories I've made, but the ones I have yet to create.
Out here, we have an independent streak. We want the government to stay out of our business. That's what freedom is. A woman's private medical decisions should be between her and her doctor. Michael Baumgartner has a long record of opposing abortion in almost all cases, even when a woman is raped. He'd let states restrict access to birth control and fertility treatments. I'm Carmela Conroy. I approve this message because our freedoms are at stake.
Welcome back. After a month of collecting and cleaning coats, the time has come to give them away. Hundreds of parents and kids stopped by the distribution sites all across the inland Northwest to pick up their coats.
Yeah, this is the 39th year of Coats for Kids. And Chris, you've been involved with the whole process of collecting the coats and getting them clean. How excited are you for these kids to be able to finally pick them out?
It is the best part. I'm not even, they don't even require me to be there, but I like to go and watch because they're so happy. And boy, thank you. Everybody really stepped up.
Yeah, makes such a big difference. Now, earlier today, our Madeline Mullins stopped by the Northeast Community Center and talked to some of the people picking out coats about what this means to them.
All right, nice. You found some, yay.
It's that time of the year when we are all bundling up and getting ready for the cold weather. For some who need a little extra help staying warm this winter, Coats for Kids is lending a helping hand.
Coats are expensive, and my kids, are at school, and it's raining, and, it's cold. And I just need some help this year, so.
Students from Shaw Middle School were among some of the people picking out coats.
Well, you guys saw it. They were pretty excited.
Some of the staff who brought their students to the Northeast Community Center say Coats for Kids is a blessing for their students.
Esther, are you finding yours? We brought a class over today, and most of them are new to Spokane and even new to the United States. So the fact that they get to pick out their own coat is pretty exciting for them.
Rosa Lopez has helped hand out coats at the Northeast Community Center for 10 years. She says getting to pick out a coat means a lot to the kids.
Some of them walk in here without a coat, and they walk out with a coat, so they're super happy.
You can come pick out a coat at the Northeast Community Center Monday through Friday from 10 to 3 for the next 2 weeks. Information on locations and times of the distribution sites can be found on KXLY.com. In Spokane, I'm Madeline Mullins, 4 News Now.
So good to see that. And Chris, we were talking earlier about kids getting excited just to get a sticker or, a box of crayons or something, but to get a brand new winter coat that's like a hug during the winter.
It is like a hug. Yes, it is. And you know what? I'm glad that we've got the coats out there now, because take a look at some of these overnight lows for the next 7 days. Your low temperature trend, we're heading down into the 20s, not tonight, but the next 3 nights before we start warming up again. Those warmer temperatures do come with more wet weather. I'll have your 7-day forecast after the break.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Happy Take and Bake Tuesday!
Every Tuesday at Papa Murphy's, you can get any large pizza for just $12.99, which makes Tuesday the best day to bring home all your favorites.
We might have too many favorites.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
As County Sheriff, I know Al French is the only candidate who fully supports our local law enforcement.
As the mayor of Medical Lake, I'm confident that Al French is the only candidate with a real plan for affordable housing and clean drinking water.
As the mayor of Airway Heights, I trust that Al French is the only candidate that will keep taxes low and support small businesses.
I trust Al to make our community safer.
And good paying jobs.
And to keep Spokane County affordable.
I'm Al French, and I'm running to get results for you.
It's hard saying goodbye to your car, so AutoNation makes it easy to say hello to your next one. Shop over 25,000 used vehicles now at AutoNation.com. Plus, we'll buy your car for top dollar. Visit AutoNation.com today.
35 years ago, I started going to Planned Parenthood. They help Washington women with pregnancy care, birth control, even cancer screening. But Dave Reichert tried to jeopardize that care. Reichert has voted repeatedly to defund Planned Parenthood. It's part of Reichert's years-long record, trying to ban abortion nationwide, including here in Washington. No politician should ever tell me that I don't have a right to make a decision regarding my body. Dave Reichert is wrong for governor.
Stay ahead of your moderate to severe eczema and show off clearer skin and less itch with Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists that helps heal your skin from within. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
In celebration of Veterans Day, 4 News Now and BECU would like to honor those who've served our country. Go to KXLY.com. Submit a photo and a short write-up on a veteran or military member. 4 News Now, honoring our heroes. Brought to you by BECU.
Papa Murphy's everyday value lineup means big savings on big flavors. Like our new shredded pepperoni, crumbled sausage, or classic cheese pizzas. All for the small price of $7.99 each. Order now at papamurphys.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by Monster Jam at the Spokane Arena November 8th through the 10th.
Oh boy, take a look at this. The snow is starting to pile up at our local ski areas. On your screen right now is video from Schweitzer Village, where it got hit with 15 inches of snow over the weekend. Schweitzer says it expects another 8 to 14 inches of new snow tonight.
Chris is doing a happy dance.
Yeah, couldn't contain that excitement.
A lot of the skiers and snowboarders are very excited to see just that, the snow. We need to know, though, how much of a chance do we have seeing snow in the valley?
You know, there will be a little bit of snow mixing in some of the valleys in North Idaho. Nothing to shovel, but certainly you may notice it at your house, and I'd like to know if you do. Let's take a look at Lookout Pass right now, where it is snowing. A little bit slushy on the roadways, but it isn't really sticking on the roads. It's been tough going over Lookout Pass at times over the weekend, and may get a little dicey tonight as well. We have another round of snow coming. 4 things to know about your weather. It is going to be a windy early morning. Winds will die down throughout the day. Sunny skies, a beautiful day for Election Day. Lingering mountain snow, and then we've got some cold nights ahead this week, as I showed you just a moment ago. Now, a winter weather advisory continues until 2 in the morning for the Northeast Mountains and North Idaho. For this area shaded in pink, that is a winter storm warning, and that goes all the way through Tuesday afternoon, looking at 8 to 15 inches of snow in that higher terrain above 4,000 feet. Lookout Pass is just above 4,000 feet. Our forecast radar, we are going to see more snow in North Idaho to a lesser extent, just a sliver there in northeastern Washington. Here is midnight tonight, and you'll notice there's not much green on the map, maybe right along through Sandpoint up through Bonners Ferry, but you do not have to go very high in any direction to find that snow falling, and then we'll start to see that clearing off again. I would not expect any accumulation down in the valleys, but we're right on time to have some snow mixing in. It's usually my rule of thumb to see a few snowflakes is Election Day. It starts to accumulate right around Thanksgiving, 6 a.m. Now as we go throughout the day, we are dry and will stay dry for the next few days until we get closer to the weekend. Meanwhile, let's talk about the wind. That's going to be the concern for the next several hours. Do not be surprised if you are wake up to the sound of tree limbs breaking or garbage can lids rolling down the street. We're going to be in that 30 to 45 mile per hour range in many locations. Don't have to worry about the more serious damage until we get up into that 65 mile per hour range, which is a possibility in some of the Cascade valleys, but around Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, Pullman, and most of the Columbia Basin, it is just going to be a few tree limbs here and there, and of course the Halloween decorations, if they're not down, may roll down the road too. 5 o'clock tomorrow. Much calmer conditions around the region. Lows tonight will be right around freezing in most spots. 41 in Lewiston, one of the exceptions. Highs tomorrow just about average, from the mid 40s to the lower 50s around the region. Few spots staying in the lower 40s, including Spirit Lake, but 47 in Meade tomorrow. 49 in downtown Spokane, 45 in Cheney and Spangle. Your 7-day forecast. We've got some sunshine to enjoy for the next 3 to 4 days. And then just in time for the weekend, more valley rain and mountain snow, and a good chance of rain both Saturday, Sunday, and continuing into Monday. Kirsten.
All right, Chris, thank you. Millions of Americans are in the path for possible severe weather tonight. Portions of the central and southern U.S. could see powerful storms.
And many of those areas are still reeling from previous storms over the weekend. This all coming just hours before Americans head to the polls for Election Day. Jen Sullivan is tracking the threat and has details on the damage.
portions of the U.S. bracing for possible severe weather Monday night into Tuesday morning. The greatest threat spanning from Texas up to Illinois. This system could spawn tornadoes, thunderstorms, and flash flooding. For some of these areas, this is the third straight day of storms, like in Oklahoma, where dozens of tornadoes tore through the state over the weekend.
Oh yeah, it was a war zone.
In the Oklahoma City area, dozens of structures destroyed. This tree crashing through the roof and landing in the living room. Cars flipped into homes. Power lines toppled over in the streets. This pole slicing through a car's windshield.
Our grill went flying. Everything just destroyed our whole backyard.
Some residents say they had no warning.
I looked outside and within like 5 seconds, all hell broke loose.
The storms leaving at least 11 people hurt, and now more severe weather is on the way, just hours ahead of Election Day.
We're prepared for it. I don't think it's going to affect the turnout at all.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
All right, still ahead here on 4 News Now. Over 5 million Washington residents are now registered to vote, and there's still time for you to sign up. Join us as we take you inside a Spokane County voting center.
My girls were unharmed because of their dads, so, that was the best thing that I could have asked for.
This Vancouver mother relieved her kids are safe after a Halloween night mall shooting. See how neighbors rallied together to give local kids a second chance at a safe and fun Halloween over the weekend.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Shop Consign Furniture and Jewelry's Veterans Day sale now. Save up to 70% off all consigned pieces throughout the store. Veterans and active duty receive an additional 20% off.
Consign Furniture. Easy way to sell, smart way to buy.
Why is liberal Carmilla Conroy mudslinging and stretching the truth? Maybe it's to hide her extreme plans for an open border, drugs pouring into the country, and higher taxes. Conroy doesn't fit our district. Michael Baumgartner will protect our families, Social Security and Medicare, ensure veterans get the benefits they've earned, fight inflation, and make our neighborhoods safe by securing the southern border.
I'm Michael Baumgartner, and I approve this message.
We have an important choice to make for Lands Commissioner. King County Councilman Dave Upthegrove presided over 30 million gallons of raw sewage dumped into the Sound. Year after year, beaches closed, shellfish poisoned, a tribal lawsuit threatened, costing taxpayers millions. There's a better choice. Jamie Herrera Butler is a bipartisan leader who protected endangered salmon and is fighting for sustainable timber harvests to prevent wildfires. Vote Jamie Herrera Butler. She'll protect our environment and our tax dollars.
When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Fred Meyer. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
Shop Consign Furniture and Jewelry's Veterans Day sale now. Save up to 70% off all consigned one-of-a-kind pieces throughout the store. Veterans and active duty receive an additional 20% off.
Consign Furniture. Easy way to sell, smart way to buy.
4 News Now is brought to you by Move Fitness.
The legendary record producer who worked with everyone from Michael Jackson to Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles has died. Quincy Jones' publicist says he died peacefully, surrounded by family in his California home. In a statement, his family says they are celebrating his life despite their broken hearts. Quincy Jones was 91 years old.
One of Seattle's favorite sons. Around the Northwest now, one person is in custody for a shooting that took place at a mall in Vancouver on Halloween.
2 men were hurt and are recovering at home tonight. KPTV's McKenna Marks talked to the victims and one woman who was at the mall with her kids when the shooting started.
My girls were unharmed because of their dads, so, that was the best thing that I could have asked for.
Michaela Martin brought her family to the Vancouver Mall on Halloween to do some trick-or-treating. After loading up on candy, the family decided to grab a bite to eat at the food court. Around 7:30 p.m., a string of gunshots broke out. Michaela was across the food court from her family at the time and immediately started thinking about getting her family out of danger.
Of course, my first thought was, I can't leave. I gotta get. My whole world was on the other side of the cafeteria.
Michaela's boyfriend, Brandon, and the father of her children, Daniel, were both shot. Daniel was shot in the foot.
It missed all the bones and everything, so thankfully there's seemingly no permanent damage, just hurts a lot.
Brandon was shot in the side, just below his ribs.
They're leaving the bullet in because it's too dangerous to take it out.
Despite their injuries, both Brandon and Daniel are thankful that they made it out alive.
A fear of mine in realizing that we're both hit and that we could both be gone. So, and that Michaela was going to be left with no one, and that scared me the entire time.
One person was killed in the shooting. Michaela and her family tell me they witnessed the whole thing. Michaela says her two daughters, just 3 and 5 years old, have been traumatized. She posted a TikTok online to share her story.
Having to go through that at such a young age, I just can't.
As everyone starts to recover, the family has started a GoFundMe to raise money for therapy and medical bills. You can donate at kptv.com. In the meantime, the family wants to thank everyone who helped them the night of the shooting.
The military man had dog tags on, took his shirt off, and helped hold pressure on my wounds, and stayed with me until the medics got there, and I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Michaela tells me she wants to connect with other witnesses to try and heal together.
We're better together, and we're better as a community, and it's hard to go through something like this, and just because I was so close doesn't mean it wasn't affecting for everybody else who was involved. There were hundreds of people there.
Now, because of that shooting, the Vancouver community came together for a trick-or-treat redo over the weekend. 2 women created a trunk-or-treat event and shared it online. Within hours, hundreds of people RSVP'd and dozens volunteered to hand out candy.
Without them, it wouldn't be a trunk-or-treat. It'd be, oh, here's a piece of candy, no one came.
And one family who showed up for the event said they left the mall just before the shooting started.
My friends were there. It was terrible. We left literally minutes before that it had happened, and we were literally crying in a car.
And the organizers say the event was a huge success, and many of the kids enjoyed getting another chance to break out their costumes.
Well, still ahead, a new construction project could mean traffic jams in Millwood next spring. Find out what improvements the city has planned and how they're expected to ease traffic in the long run.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Washington State University and 4 News Now would like to congratulate Bud Namick and the rest of the recipients of the 2024 Inland Northwest Hall of Fame. Sponsored by Spokane Sports. Tune in for the replays of this event. Details can be found on KXLY.com/Hall of Fame.
BECU and 4 News Now are teaming up for the Great American Flag Swap. On November 8th, bring your old tattered flag to BECU, and in exchange, you'll receive a new flag with help from Uncle Sam's Flag and Gift.
This November, let's thank veterans and military families who are serving.
BECU is proud to be part of the Great American Flag Swap. We're honored to live in a community that supports veterans and military families who sacrifice for the benefit of us all. Visit us in Spokane and see what banking is like when people come first. BECU, not for profit, equals more for people.
Amy M. writes, my kids are having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Will my internet hold up?
Well, our Xfinity gateways are like magic, designed to easily power a ton of teenagers and their devices.
They're so magic, I'm like the good witch of engineering.
And I'm the Wicked Witch of beta testing.
And I'm the wizard of spreadsheets.
I knew he'd excel at that job.
Get Thrillifyingly fast Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd.
Jorge has always put the ones he loves first. But when it comes to caring for his teeth, he's let his own maintenance take a back seat. Well, maybe it's time to shift gears on that. Aspen Dental has complete, affordable care, all under one roof. Plus, $29 exams and x-rays for new patients without insurance. And 20% off treatment plans for everyone. Making it easier to get started with quality care. It's one more way Aspen Dental is in your corner.
When it comes to remodeling your bath,
There's fact and there's fiction. Fiction. Some bath remodels just cover up water damage. Fact. Bathfitter inspects and cleans your current tub area, and we make any necessary repairs before installing our product for a watertight fit. Bathfitter installations are built to last, with a lifetime warranty to fit your expectations. Get the bath that fits you. Bathfitter. It just fits. Go to bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Washington State University in 4 News Now would like to congratulate Bud Namick and the rest of the recipients of the 2024 Inland Northwest Hall of Fame. Sponsored by Spokane Sports. Tune in for the replays of this event. Details can be found on KXLY.com/Hall of Fame.
Well, welcome back. It's the eve of Election Day, and you still have time to cast your vote here in Spokane County.
You can either do so by mail or a ballot drop box, or you can go to one of the county's voting service centers.
Yeah, we have these service centers mapped out for you here on your screen. You can go to the Catalyst building that's just east of downtown, or the Center Place Regional Event Center in Spokane Valley anytime between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'm Marissa Rio. Went to both service centers today and spoke with a few last-minute voters.
As you can see behind me, it is really busy here at the Voting Service Center here in Spokane Valley. Now, these voting service centers are for people who need help with their ballot, they need help with registering to vote, or it's just for those people who feel more comfortable voting in person. Now, I did speak with a few of those voters over at the EWU Catalyst building downtown earlier today. Take a listen.
I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost in the mail and it gets counted as well as it can.
From feeling more secure with filling out their ballot in person to...
just because here they have at least the pamphlets, they have the voter's manual, so it kind of helps you be able to read all this stuff if you're not super familiar with everything beforehand, so I like that.
It being easier for others. There are several reasons as to why last-minute voters would come to a service center. It's a one-stop shop for all your voting needs. You can register to vote here, drop off your ballot, fill out your ballot, receive the help you need, and more. Spokane County officials are expecting a high voter turnout tomorrow, so their advice?
So folks, if you are waiting till the last minute, please do not. Please come in as early as you can. Get whatever done that needs to be done, whether that's a replacement ballot or new envelopes or even register to vote. Don't put it off. Do it right away.
In Spokane, Marissa Rio, 4 News Now.
And we've heard a few of your concerns about reports of people receiving multiple ballots or being able to get additional ballots at these county service centers. We are fact-checking these claims and answering your questions. We found out no matter how many ballots you obtain, the Spokane County Elections Office will only count one of your submissions. And your ballot has to be sealed in your voter envelope, which has a unique barcode containing your registration details. If you're wondering why someone would have received more than one ballot, Spokane County Auditor Vicki Dalton has the answer.
If something changes in your voter registration record, it's going to generate an automatic replacement ballot. The most common one is something that the voter does, and that is by going to Washington driver's licensing and making some kind of change to their license, such as changing their name, changing their address, or possibly even just renewing their driver's license.
Well, Dalton further emphasized that your ballot will not count unless it is sealed in that envelope, which contains your registration information. She also noted that if someone submits more than one ballot, not only will additional ballots not be counted, but legal action could be taken for potential voter fraud. Well, Election Day might be tomorrow, but many Idaho voters have already turned in their ballots.
Yeah, thousands of Idahoans decided to vote early or request an absentee ballot this year. Here's Allison Martinez with what's driving these people in Idaho to the polls.
The Kootenai County Elections Office saw at least 1,000 people every day of early voting. With a contentious presidential election, Proposition 1, and decisions that will impact the future of North Idaho College on the ballot, local voters are making sure their voices are heard.
There's so much at risk for our nation.
Leading up to Election Day, thousands of Kootenai County voters braved the cold and the rain to get their vote in early.
The energy is a little damp because of the weather, but the commitment is high, it seems, for people that really want to show that they care about this, how this election turns out.
Voters are energized by a desire for change on a local and national level. Nearly 41,000 early and absentee ballots have been returned in Kootenai County alone. If you plan on being in the midst of the excitement by voting on Election Day, here's what you need to know. You have from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day to turn in your absentee ballot or make it to the polls to vote in person. If you are in line by the time polls close, you will be able to cast your ballot. Tomorrow, class is not in session for both the Coeur d'Alene and Lakeland school districts. This is because these schools will serve as polling places. To find a site near you, you can go to our website, kxly.com. In Coeur d'Alene, Allison Martinez, 4 News Now.
Well, let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker with your first alert forecast.
Well, it is a cool and windy night. I'm looking here at the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena, absolutely packed. Parking lots for the Gonzaga game, and it's 41 degrees and windy. When those fans leave the building, they are going to be chilly. We've got 22-mile-per-hour sustained winds right now in Spokane, with higher gusts in Spokane Valley, 46-mile-per-hour gusts right now in Pullman. And we'll see these winds picking up as we get into the evening. A wind advisory in effect for the area in brown on your screen, with wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. The strongest gusts will be south of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, as well as through those Cascade gaps into the Cascade valleys, where some isolated areas could experience gusts up to 65 miles per hour. Your 12-hour wind forecast, again, things will be picking up a little bit in the overnight, peaking around 2 a.m. with 40-mile-per-hour gusts, and then they'll start to taper off a little bit as you head out the door tomorrow morning, but it is still going to be quite crisp at the bus stop. I will be back in just a few minutes to have your 7-day forecast and tell you when to expect the next round of wet weather. Derek?
All right, Chris, thank you. The Spokane County Clerk's Office announced modifications to provided services due to a statewide system outage. The Clerk's Office said it was experiencing service interruptions due to technical issues with the Washington Clerk Network. Some services that are currently unavailable include electronic court record searches, electronic filing, and electronic payment processes. Officials say it will continue to offer in-person filing of paper documents, emergency orders, and access to physical court records. No word yet on what caused this outage.
Well, a new construction project meant getting around Millwood easier to it is meant to do that, is set to begin next spring. So the project is going to be on Argonne Road between Grace Avenue to the Spokane River Bridge. And this lane would allow drivers to turn left onto East Liberty Avenue right near Inland Empire Paper Company. The goal is to reduce traffic on Argonne Road. Well, 2 top 10 teams are going head-to-head right now in the Spokane Arena.
Number 6 Gonzaga has a tough task on their hands with 8th-ranked Baylor. Sydney Berger has an update from the game coming up next in sports.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app. At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
At Numerica, you'll find money answers for loud sneezers. Gesundheit. Get money answers for you and only you. Learn more at numericacu.com.
Many great careers don't need a 4-year degree. They start out here. Bob Ferguson has a detailed plan to expand apprenticeships and on-the-job training like I had to get more Washingtonians the skills they need to succeed. And Bob will eliminate 4-year degree requirements for most state jobs, opening doors to more good-paying careers. I would support Bob Ferguson, even if it wasn't my kid brother, but it helps he listens to old machinists like me.
Bob Ferguson for governor.
We've collected thousands of warm winter coats for this year's Coats for Kids campaign. The coats have now been cleaned thanks to Alsco. If you know a child in need of a warm winter coat, go to kxly.com/coatsforkids to find a distribution location near you.
Thank you to the hundreds of people who donated to Coats for Kids at an STCU branch during October. Your generosity warmed our hearts and will help keep kids out of the cold. Thank you.
My name is Bob Rambo, and this is my Summit Cancer Center story. I had lymphoma. I was kind of scared to death, and the doctors recommended I go to Summit Cancer Center. Everybody on the staff there is super neat, nice, and it's kind of like a homecoming. I had lymphoma, and they cured that. I'm very thankful for this cancer center.
Out here, we have an independent streak. We want the government to stay out of our business. That's what freedom is. A woman's private medical decisions should be between her and her doctor. Michael Baumgartner has a long record of opposing abortion in almost all cases, even when a woman is raped. He'd let states restrict access to birth control and fertility treatments. I'm Carmela Conroy. I approve this message because our freedoms are at stake.
4 News Now is brought to you by Northern Quest Resort and Casino.
Some breaking news out of Western Washington.
The Boeing strike is now over, with 59% of voters accepting the company's latest offer. That deal included a 38% wage increase over 4 years. That's 3% higher than the previous offer, but it falls short of the 40% wage increase the union originally asked for, and still does not include restoring pensions. Workers could go back to work as early as Wednesday.
For 18 straight seasons, the Gonzaga Bulldogs have won their first game of their regular season, but tonight the streak could be threatened. They open their season against a top 10 team in the Baylor Bears. The Bears have won the last 2 games against the Zags, including the 2021 National Championship. Gonzaga has pulled away so far in this first half. At last check, just a couple minutes from halftime, the Zags are leading 37-24. So far, a great season opener. Of course, we'll have the highlights tonight on Nightside starting at 11. And it's the Cougars' first game under head coach David Riley. Riley was previously at Eastern Washington for the last 3 seasons, now jumping on over to the Palouse and ready to lead the Cougars to hopefully their first win. They just started the second half here, so there's a starting score check after the first period. It was a little bit of a scary start for the Cougs. They were at one point down 21-4, but they've bounced back so far. And so with David Riley making that jump, head coach Dan Munson, now the leading man at Eastern Washington, but the Eagles were on the road against the Colorado Buffaloes and fell in their season opener tonight. They were up at the half, but couldn't hold off on the Buffs tonight. They're back at home Wednesday against Seattle U. And 2 of our local women's teams opened up their season against each other tonight. It was the first game of the doubleheader over in Beasley Coliseum. The Washington State Cougars came out a little slow against Eastern Washington. At one point, the Cougs were down 15 points, but the Eags forced it to overtime in the final seconds of regulation. And WSU's Estera Tuhina came in clutch with a game-winning 3-pointer. The final score, 83-82, a great bounce-back win from the women Cougs in their first home opener. And don't worry, I didn't forget all of us still holding on to the end of football season. Washington State is ready to make a final statement in their last 4 games of the regular season. The Cougars have a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and Coach Dickert wants to make sure they aren't getting caught up in all the noise.
We just got to keep attacking the work of what it takes to win, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just about stacking up 1-0s. Stay in the dark. Don't let the noise kind of suffocate you. Just getting a lot of feedback from the players in the past. You know, sometimes you get ranked and you feel the pressure to perform, you know, to the 20th ranked team in the country. We just need to be our best.
Well, Cougar football is back in action this Saturday against Utah State at 7:30, and we'll have full highlights from the Zags game tonight on 4 News Now at Nightside. In studio, Sydney Berger, 4 News Now Sports.
Temperatures today just about average, starting the day off at 34, a high of 45. Our sunset, 4:27, awfully early. 23/100ths of an inch of rain today, and there's more in the 7-day forecast. I'll let you know what to expect after the break.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
When I was told I needed radiation treatment for a brain tumor, I couldn't stop thinking about what could happen to my memories. Those moments I cherish from growing up, of finding myself, of the people I love, of what I've created. But they all just fade away? But when I learned how precise treatment was with Gamma Knife, I was reassured that those moments would be preserved. Because it's not only about protecting the memories I've made, but the ones I have yet to create.
As County Sheriff, I know Al French is the only candidate who fully supports our local law enforcement.
As a mayor of Medical Lake, I'm confident that Al French is the only candidate with a real plan for affordable housing and clean drinking water.
As the mayor of Airway Heights, I trust that Al French is the only candidate that will keep taxes low and support small businesses.
I trust Al to make our community safer.
And good paying jobs.
And to keep Spokane County affordable.
I'm Al French, and I'm running to get results for you.
Life is wild. There's work to be done, adventure around every corner, and a truck that handles it all. The new 2024 Ford F-150 Wild Edition. It's rugged, loaded with tech, and built to go wild. Get a wild deal on an F-150 today. Lease a 2024 F-150 SDX 4x4 for just $399 a month for 36 months. Only at your local Ford dealer.
We're calling it November.
November.
Because we're all voting no on Initiative 2117.
No, I don't want funding cuts for our roads.
No, I don't want to increase the risk of wildfires.
No, I don't want to hurt small businesses like mine.
No, I don't want cuts to public transit.
No, I don't want to put our clean air at risk.
We all know the threats of 2117.
And we're all
voting no this November.
Election night, this is where America turns for answers. ABC Election Night.
Welcome back.
We've seen a whole lot of stuff today. We showed you the snow up at Schweitzer.
Yes.
We've had rain all morning.
I was worried the
winds.
branches were going to fly off in the parking lot.
There are some out and about, and the wind is going to continue. So do not be surprised if you get rattled awake overnight tonight. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. It is going to be windy right on through tomorrow early morning, and then breezy at the bus stop, and with a morning low of 35 degrees, that is going to be crisp. Otherwise, we have sunny skies on Tuesday. It's going to be beautiful. Some lingering mountain snow showers in the central panhandle. We have some very cold nights this week. Not as cold tonight. That wind helps mix warmer air down to the surface, so we really will drop, however, tomorrow night when our winds are much calmer. We have a winter storm warning in effect for the central panhandle. Right now, it continues all the way through Tuesday afternoon for some very heavy snow in the mountains. Winter weather advisory expires at 2 a.m. for the Northeast Mountains and North Idaho. Meanwhile, wind advisory until 5 a.m. for the area shaded in brown on your screen. It does not include Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, but southern Spokane County down through the Idaho and Washington Palouse, as well as the Elsey Valley. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. It is a high wind warning for this area, mainly in those Cascade valleys where wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour, not out of the question. Tomorrow, it is blue skies and sunshine all day. We'll hit our high of 46 pretty early in the day, and then that temperature will start to drop. We are going to be dry, and high pressure is building in, so we are in for several nice days before the rain returns in the 7-day forecast for the weekend. But you'll have some time to do some raking. I got to get those leaves up. The Freeman High School is coming to pick up my leaves, so I need those ready to go for them by next weekend.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Initiative 2124. It's purposely misleading. So here's what you need to know. Independent analysts say if I-2124 passes, It will bankrupt our affordable long-term care benefit, leaving millions of Washingtonians with no options but private insurance that charges way too much and routinely denies coverage to millions with pre-existing conditions. Don't let it happen. Protect your long-term care benefits. Vote no on I-2124.
Dear unbreakable spirit, when the terrain is gnarly, you steady us. When obstacles are ahead, you lift us. When the turf is hostile, you inspire us. Own a legend. Toyota Trucks.
Right now, you can lease a new 2024 Tacoma for just $349 per month. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Sometimes, life is a funny way of turning sideways. Like when your kid decides they're a professional stylist the morning of picture day. Or when your to-do list isn't quite done.
You went to Rite Aid, right?
Or when you're sure you packed everything you need, but you actually need one more thing.
We forgot our prescriptions.
We got you. Are we happy?
We are happy. Find everything you need?
Yep. Yeah, life never really goes the way you plan, but that's why we're here. It means more at Rite Aid.
As a local reporter for almost 30 years, I have seen politics up close, the good and the bad. But since we closed the primaries in this state, it has gotten worse. Party bosses changed the rules, and that cut out 275,000 voters from participating. And wouldn't you know it, elected officials are now even less accountable to the people of Idaho. Prop 1 reopens our primaries for all taxpayers, so we can pick the candidates that work for us. I'm voting yes on Prop 1 to give power back to the people of Idaho.
We've collected thousands of warm winter coats for this year's Coats for Kids campaign. The coats have now been cleaned thanks to Alsco. If you know a child in need of a warm winter coat, go to KXLY.com/coatsforkids to find a distribution location near you.
Fred's Appliance would like to thank everyone who donated to Coats for Kids. Because of our Spokane community coming together, we can keep kids warm. At Fred's, we're proud to support our community. Come in and see us today for the appliance you need with service you can trust.
That is a pretty good looking forecast for the next 4 days, and then that rain comes back, mountain snow, overnight lows for the next several nights down below freezing.
Oh, yeah.
20s.
Wow. And my kid doesn't want to leave the house with a coat on, so.
They never do. It doesn't change as they get older.
Yeah, I was going to say.
See you at 11.